Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dicing with Death. Ark, Carl, you have chatted with everyone. You've got the lay of the land. You've figured out what's going on in this town since you've been gone for so long, and you are studying the shield spell. And my webcam keeps refocusing. I got a new webcam, which I'm sure you guys can tell.
It's confused at how tan you are.
It's not tan, it's sunburn. Look.
It's confused at how sunburned you are, at how not pasty white you are, and can't figure out how to focus on your face.
Yeah. Well, this is the correct color of my skin, and this is the sunburned color of my skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about asking, before the break we teased with a hot date with Mother Emma to the temple, but I think we may just, are we doing that, or are we skipping ahead a few weeks?
You can do whatever you want. If you want to skip ahead a few weeks until you've learned your shield spell, I mean, the temple's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Either way.
Maybe it is.
How far is it from Misty Rapids? Can I get to Misty Rapids, talk to Mother Emma, and...
Misty Rapids is, if you go there instead of directly to the keep, it's like a 45-minute detour.
Okay, so now I'll have just enough time to swing by and talk. So yeah, I'll visit the temple again. It's been like 4 days?
Yeah, something like that.
Can't spend too much time here. I'll get a bad reputation.
All right, so you arrive at the temple.
Bad reputation.
Mother Emma is there, actually, standing out in the front steps, talking with a few peasants as you ride up the hill towards her.
Okay.
The peasants clear out of the way as you approach. She tries to call after them and keep the conversation going, but...
I try not to. I park my horse a respectful distance away. I don't let it...
when you start coming up the hill, the people start dispersing.
Oh.
Don't worry, your reputation is intact.
Well, I dismount and walk over looking a little sheepish. Does she say anything about the... the inball? See, I don't even need a fear spell to radiate this aura of fear.
So, you approach. Mother Emma looks to you and says, "Ah, Carl, are you here about the water clock? Is it done yet?"
It's still a work in progress, but I did stop by to pay homage to the gods, and yes, survey the site once again. There's a prototype set up, isn't there? Or did that get shoved back into storage?
I don't think they set it up front.
Okay. I had set up some bowls or whatever, like a drip system or whatever that measured time. But... Right.
That is no longer on display.
I had actually just come from the underground temple in the east, and
Yes?
For some reason I thought of you.
Because I am so very old, says the 16-year-old.
No. The human mind is a mystery. The associations it makes. Have you seen the temple?
I have not, but as a cleric of Tempos, it is no wonder your mind turns to me when you think of time. Is there something in particular?
You're very wise despite your age.
Is there something in particular you wish to discuss? Have you lost your way again?
No impending doom driving me to existential crises this time.
Unfortunate.
The temple is quite a sight, and a few weeks ago I had to clear some bears out of there, but I can assure you now that it is quite safe and well worth a visit.
Perhaps I shall sometime. She looks at you kind of expectantly.
Yes, I look back at her silently, not sure what I expected.
Carl, you and I have spoken many times now.
Several, yes.
Is there something you desire from me?
I don't think Georg laughs like I just did. He probably blushes and gets, why? No, Mother, what? I'm not sure what you're insinuating, but it's just, it's refreshing to have someone in town with both the acumen for intelligent thought and the open-mindedness to not try to drown me in the river.
Smiles and then tries to cover it up. Yes, well, that is something I could see being welcome relief.
I do see us as kindred spirits in some way. I mean, I am a dimensionalist. I seek to master space and time. And in your own way, I don't think you would say master, but you seek the same knowledge, do you not?
I see and agree with your point. I think the main difference between the two of us is that I serve the people.
I may not see my primary purpose on this earth to serve the peasants, but I have certainly done more for this land than most.
What would you say your primary purpose on this earth is?
A heavy question. The way I see it, we wizards are conduits for the magical energy in the universe. And my gifts exceed that of most. I don't know if there is a purpose to such power, but I do think it is important to understand and harness it. If nothing else than to keep it from burning out of control.
Conduit always has a purpose, Georg. Carl, sorry. You should figure out who you serve.
Yes, and hopefully before level 9 when my alignment is sealed in stone. All right.
I have a feeling your loyalties are not quite as transparent as they may seem.
Do you doubt my loyalty to the good Baron? You don't need to answer that.
Farewell, Art Carl.
Yes. Let me know if you would like to see the temple, or feel free to make the pilgrimage yourself if you wish. I'm surprised it gets less traffic, or it gets so little traffic.
She nods and walks out, or walks into the temple. And I think we are ready to skip ahead a few weeks.
Yeah, why don't we?
Okay. So we can skip the rest of this week. No, we can skip the rest of next week. We can go all the way up to the 31st of July, where you get to roll your first check on Shield. Now, let's review the rules for learning spells. If you roll a 99 or 100, the spell is beyond your capability. Your chance to learn the spell is 10% plus 1% per point of intelligence and 1% per level.
So,
minus 2% per spell level that you're learning.
Okay, so we're talking 10% plus 19% plus 8% minus 2%. So 35%.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. It's oh, that's a potion. Hold on. It is. No, I was correct. Yes, I was correct. Sorry. 10 plus 1 per level plus 1 per int minus 2 per spell level. So
35%.
35? That's pretty good. Now,
Pass.
if you want to...
Is there something you wanted me to say before I rolled that?
Yeah, but it's fine, it turns out. I was going to say, because if you try every week, that means every week you've got a 2% chance that you fail. Whereas if you just waited 6 weeks...
Okay. Okay. That is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm in a hurry. I got some XP grinding to do, and chat wants some blood. So,
all right, I'm gonna turn off the autofocus on this sucker.
So I do learn shield.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And that is first level spell.
First level spell.
So that's gonna be worth 500 experience points for learning it. Because researching a new spell is 500 XP per spell level. Okay, and I will add that to your spell list as soon as the page refreshes.
Evan, if you're listening, I'm ruining the spreadsheet trying to add a row. I'm just gonna add it, and I don't know. Whatever.
Where is Georg? All right, there's Georg. Shield is added to your character sheet, your character spell list.
Oh yeah, and let's figure out how many. It's D6 per spell. D6 plus 1 minus 1 per spell level. Or whatever?
Yes, D6 minus 1 plus 1 per spell level. So 5.
5, and that winds up being in. I'm running out of spell books, man. All right, I'll put that in Lori's book. But we're now at 44 out of 50 pages in his. God, I'm making this Lori look like a way better wizard than he ever actually was.
What was his name? Lori the Magnificent or something?
Lori the Magnificent.
Oh, poor Lori. All he wanted to do was learn.
Did he? He should have framed it that way. How could he have known? I thought he wanted to steal my job.
Well, I mean, he did, but, you know.
He probably would have been my apprentice if I wasn't such a horrible person. All right.
Okay, so what do you want to do now? It's the last day of the month, which means next week is finance time.
Gross. All right, let's deal with that right now. And then I think I'm getting kind of restless, so I want to do some adventuring. I'm going to try and track down the Chimera lair, the Chimera lair in the Soggy Hills.
Now, how do you plan on doing that? That's a difficult thing now that the Chimera is gone.
Yeah, it may just be me wandering around the Soggy Hills looking for random encounters to grind my way to level 9. But I'll think about it. I've got locate objects and locate. Did I ever learn locate creature? I guess that wouldn't really help.
No, it's dead.
Yeah, I do have. I haven't learned locate creature, but I have it on a scroll. Are there any spell components to shield? Did you add it to my spell list?
I did add it to your spell list. It's somatic and verbal only.
Nice. All right. So what is my expenses are going to be 400 a month?
Yes, 50 per level. Is that what we were doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and subtract my living expenses. And let's fuss with my spell list so that I can squeeze a shield in there. Large. Let's do it instead of detect magic. So I burn a detect magic. Burn a shield. And let's see, is there anything that I think would be useful in tracking down a shimmer lair? I'm going to do the next day, instead of ESP, I'm going to do my locate object. I don't know what object I could possibly come up with, but
Interesting choice.
But I might be able to like locate a cave, a skeleton. Skeleton could work.
Cave's not an object. A skeleton might work, but
Hey, I mean, if you find a body in the woods, it's going to be interesting regardless of whether it's in a shimmer lair or not.
that's true.
All right.
It's a very interesting way of doing it. I wonder if it would just locate your own skeleton.
No, I mean, you can imagine like a disembodied. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, you probably have to be more specific. I think you could. If you cast locate object on a human, it wouldn't point to you, and like you could track other humans, right?
But I don't think object actually works on living.
Oh, yeah, object. Okay, you're right. Object does not work on living things.
So I guess skeleton would work actually because it won't detect you because you're living.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting use of the spell. Apparel, jewelry, furniture, tools, weapons, or even a ladder or stairway.
Okay.
I think a skeleton probably fits in there.
Or loot. Yeah, good call, Nightbeer. I could look for gold.
Yes, you could.
But the range is only like 100 yards or something, so I need to be pretty
20
close.
yards per level.
Yeah.
160. It's not bad. Those of you that are European, just convert yards to meters. It's close enough.
Yeah, close enough. All right, we're putting chat to sleep, so let's get this over with. So the morning after I learn shield, I'm going to conjure my phantom steed and head out across the... Maybe I should take my unicorn. Nah.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's take the unicorn out for a spin. Oh, but if I crash it.
I mean, what's the point of having a nice car if you're not going to drive it?
I think my Phantom Steed is a nicer car, but like the unicorn is slower.
Yes, much slower.
Is it 24 or 8?
Half? Zombies move at half human movement rate, right? Do they move at 12?
It's a skeleton. It's a monster skeleton or whatever.
Oh, it's a skeleton. Okay, so it moves at the same movement rate as its living predecessor.
Yeah, which I think is pretty quick.
Which is 24, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the unicorn out for a spin. That maybe no one even realized was animated. They thought I just bronzed it.
Bronzed it and just like let it lie down in this pit.
It's a lot. No, I think it's standing. I think it's standing erect near the forge. It's just like as like a statue or something like that. It might be like in the forge, but people have probably caught glimpses of it as like a statue. But,
right.
I saddle it up and mount up and head out of town.
Okay, you head into the Soggy Hills.
I will skirt around Misty Rapids to that. There's a crossing somewhere east of Misty Rapids. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I will avoid the city and head to that crossing. Do I see any people on the way?
They're townsfolk, regular villagers. But I don't presume those are the sorts of people you're looking for.
I mean, that was sort of what I was asking. I mean, like I have been sighted riding atop a bronzed skeletal unicorn.
Yes, and everyone in the keep saw you. Well, not everyone. Like all the people outside saw you.
But I don't know that most people would assume, hey, that is an animated unicorn skeleton. They may just think that is a skeletal metal unicorn that has been animated or that has been enchanted.
I think either way, people are pretty freaked out by what they're seeing here.
Okay. Does the skeletal uniform move gracefully, or does it like clomp ground awkwardly?
It's a little awkward. Have you ever seen the old Jason and the Argonauts from like the 70s?
Yes, but I'm not sure what scene you're referring to.
There's a skeleton scene where they throw the dragon's teeth.
But it was human skeletons, right?
Right. But like the special effects for the skeletons fighting is kind of janky, and they're kind of like.
I think it was stop motion or something, wasn't it?
That makes a lot of sense. If it was
I think it was stop motion, and they like edited them in after. And if you look, they're not usually in the scenes with the guys they're fighting. It'll be like a shot of a bunch of stop motion skeletons moving around all awkwardly,
and then a shot of the people fighting them,
and then back to death.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what it's like. It's this jerky.
But it still moves at full speed.
Right.
Okay. That's my unicorn impression.
Nice. So you cross the river and begin to head into the Soggy Hills. The area directly across the ford is fairly flat, lots of trees. It's a nice, thick forest there.
So to answer your question, I really don't have a plan. But I do have about it's like 17,000 worth of XP to grind. And there is presumably a Shimmer lair somewhere out here in the Soggy Hills. Unaccounted for. So I think I'm just going to head north and kind of see what I find.
Okay. You have been out there for...
north.
You've been across the river for maybe 20 minutes. When you give me a perception check. That's how we're gonna do it. I forgot how to use dice. It's been so long.
Ooh, fail. 18.
Okay. When you are surprised, you're kind of plodding around this thing. There's some big bushes and some big trees, and you come around the end of them, and you see a trio of bugbears squatting around a body, a human body. They look up from this body and kind of stand up immediately to their full 7-foot height. You know, these are 7-foot tall, furry, goblinoid, humanoid creatures, and they're buff. You know, they're fairly thick all the way around. They're well muscled. They're brownish fur and long pointy ears kind of dangling in the warm summer breeze. And they kind of look at you, mouth agape.
I still tower over them atop my mount. I look to the body. Are they eating it? Is it fresh?
It is face down on the ground.
So were they also surprised, or were they?
Oh yeah, you're both surprised. Both sides like, what the fuck just happened? And now you roll for initiative.
Initiative.
Well, that's what happens. You don't have to fight. You could, speak if you win initiative.
Yeah, I am speaking. I speak in, I think, Hobgoblin. I'm like, whoa. Who's that? And I like point to the body. I'm not very obviously threatening, and I've stopped. How far away from them did I spot them?
30 feet. Very close.
Okay.
Did you roll your initiative?
I rolled a 7.
What's the +2 for?
For a dagger. Because I didn't actually commit to casting a spell. Although maybe I should. Nah.
Hey.
It crossed my mind to try out this new shield spell. But if I get into an actual fight later today, I don't know.
Okay. So, you immediately say in Hobgoblin, Who's
There
that?
was just like a grunt of surprise, and then I like point to the body, and I'm like, "Who's that?" They,
The
they
trio of
say
hobgoblins turn
they're
and
bugbears.
run.
Bugbears.
Bugbears, yeah, sorry. The trio of bugbears turn and run. Northwest. Northeast. Gone.
They probably have souls, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, we were. Did they beat a 7?
No. They all went after a 7.
Okay, but I can still make attacks if I so choose.
Yeah.
How close to each other are they?
15 feet.
Okay. I think I will ride them down. So let's take this unicorn out for a spin. Does the unicorn get it attacks at? So how do monster skeletons work? Does it attack?
They attack just like their their non-monstrous counterparts.
Wow.
So your skeleton, you can write it down and
It
try
doesn't
to
get
either do an overrun or you can just have it make attacks with its hooves.
Does it do? It doesn't get its. It's got a bronze or a bronze horn.
Yes, it does.
Can it use that to attack with, or is it just ornamental?
Yes, it can.
Okay, just are these stats of my unicorn anywhere?
Okay, so here's the deal. Like, if you want to attack with the unicorn and have it make its claw or its hoof attacks and its horn attack, then you're dedicating the unicorn to combat, and so you're kind of controlling it to attack. If you would rather make attacks with your staff from the back of it, you can use the unicorn to try and overrun the enemy and make your attacks. But if you're going to use its horn attack,
better off. No, the unicorn is probably better than me stabbing with the dagger this round. So I'll control the unicorn.
And it has 3 attacks at +5 to hit for each of them. Each hoof does D6, and the horn does D12.
What is its bonus to hit? Is it
plus 5?
All right. So 2 hooves and 1 horn.
Yes, sir.
Miss hoof. Yuck. 15 with the horn. There's probably back attacks on all of these.
Yes, it is. Which makes a 15 a hit.
It just does D12. It doesn't. There's no like charge bonus or anything. Typically, the unicorn does have a charge bonus. I don't know how.
Opponents struck by a charging unicorn suffer 3 to 36 points of damage.
Yeah.
So
Is that a
3d12.
It's horrifying.
Unicorns may not attack with their front hooves in a round in which they charge.
Okay. Well, they missed anyways, but okay. Okay. So I charge down one of the bugbears, doing 20 points of damage.
The bugbear is impaled upon the unicorn horn. Its blood runs down the horn onto the skeletal creature. It gives out a gurgling cry as the 2 other bugbears try and scatter and split, one to the left and one to the right.
Yeah. Do I?
Roll me an initiative roll.
Yeah. 12.
They go first.
Okay.
They split, one left, one right.
Okay.
You can't take them both.
I think I stop, actually. I let them run. I pull out my amulet. I hope the bugbear is still in the negatives as I, like... Is it still just, like, impaled on the unicorn? So I don't even need to dismount to just, like, stick the amulet in whatever hole is there and attempt to remove its soul.
You remove its soul.
Do I just get 1 soul, or do I get multiple?
1 soul.
Gotta find more of them trolls. And if I can, spend the rest of the round like removing the bugbear from my unicorn, or commanding the unicorn to shake the bugbear off of it.
Yeah, it's not too hard.
And I think after a minute or so of fussing with this, like the bugbears have disappeared into the woods.
Gone. You can hear one of them crashing in the distance, but they've had a good 2 minutes head start on you now.
Yeah. I turn back around and go to inspect the body.
It is a...
So at this point, I dismount.
Right.
I turn the unicorn around so it's facing the direction the bugbears went, and crouch down on the ground, turn the body over.
It is a young woman, maybe 23 years of age.
She dead?
Oh, yeah.
Does she stink? Like, is she like long dead or
No,
freshly dead?
recently dead. There is a wound in her belly. It looks like maybe a spear wound or something.
Does she look? She looks like a peasant, I assume.
Yeah, some sort of peasant.
Is she armed or anything? Like, does she seem like the kind of woman that would be wandering around the wood? Like, does she look like a woodswoman?
Kind of. She has a basket on her hip that is filled with. It's got a couple of fish in it and some looks like wild lettuce and wild strawberries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll go ahead and toss whatever had spilled out of the basket back into it, and check her body for wealth.
You find a few copper pieces.
Sure. How many copper pieces?
Find 5 copper pieces.
And how many on the bugbear?
Good question. The bugbear.
I think they do actually tend to carry some small wealth.
The bugbear has 9 silver and 13 gold.
Cool. Take the wealth and nothing else of note on the woman.
Mm-mm.
All right. For a second, I think about taking a lock of hair in case I want a past life, but looking at the wound in her gut, it's probably pretty obvious what happened.
Yeah.
So I mount back up, and looks like I've got dinner. The fish. The fish and the lettuce.
Oh!
You're a monster.
Wow! One of us is a monster, and I don't think it's me.
Excuse me, I just avenged this poor woman's death.
Okay.
And banished the poor bugbears to the Well of Souls for all eternity.
Something like that. How many... Is your amulet fully charged?
Yes. Yep. That's why, That's why I paused. Between rounds, I paused to check my amulet charges, and that's why I decided to stop and harvest the soul instead of... Yeah. So
now, all you need is
a... Sorry, go ahead.
All you need is a big fat diamond. No, not a diamond, whatever you call it. Big gemstone to start stacking souls on souls.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't got 5,000 GP to spare, though.
Not yet, you don't.
Not yet, I don't. I honestly don't see that. Well, actually, I mean, if I came upon a couple thousand GP, there's probably nothing else I would rather invest in.
Casting spells at 2 levels higher. Pretty nice.
All right, I get back on my unicorn and continue north through the Tether Wilds.
Do you have supplies to stay out here for multiple days, or are you turning back at the end of the day?
I do. Yeah, I've got 7 days worth of rations. I've got a water skin, and now I don't even need to dig into the rations because I have some fresh fish and wild lettuce for tonight.
Cool. You make a couple of rolls here. All right.
More bugbears?
No. You are riding gently through the hills, or the flatlands, as it starts to approach that hilly area. You get maybe 3 or 4 hills in. It's getting towards late afternoon when you see the sight of what looks to be a young warrior, sword in hand, shield out, brazenly trying to defend itself, but turned to solid stone.
Okay, so this is not an action shot. This is a statue.
Correct.
The way you described it, I thought there was a person there in the middle of a fight.
Nope. Well, it might have been what it looked like instantly, but then you realized what was going on.
That is utterly terrifying. And I do not have a gaze reflection spell. All right, I ride up to this warrior and inspect it. I'm on high alert for anything around, and I will prepare an action to divert my gaze if I see anything approaching.
The creature, the statue is standing there. There's all sorts of grasses and vines that have grown up around it. It's clearly quite old.
Yeah, I dismount and I inspect the warrior.
Mhm.
Does any of his equipment look interesting? Or
Well, it's all been turned to stone.
yeah,
So no, not really.
okay. Looking around, so are we like in a valley on a hill?
You're in a valley between two hills.
Right. In this, is there anything else? Any other statues in this valley?
Give me a perception check. There's a lot of undergrowth around.
24.
Yes, you do see looks to be broken bits of stone scattered all over the ground nearby. Some of it is under tall grass, some of it is stuck inside bushes. As you look about, there must be possibly dozens of crushed statues that have been that you wouldn't even realize were statues if not for the one still standing.
Looking up the valley, do I see a cave at the end?
You do not.
What time of day is it? You said it was getting towards late afternoon.
Yes.
Chat suggests that the statue is a valuable piece of art.
Worth many thousands of gold.
Really? That's what chat says. Is that true?
I mean, do you have the appraisal skill?
I don't. Okay. So I will mount back up and very cautiously ride up the valley. I've probably got my eyes on the ground, my glance, like using my peripheral to see. I kind of want to retreat if I stumble on anything, actually. But I want to see if there is a cave, like at the end of this valley or some kind of lair.
As you carefully ride up.
Actually, I ride a little ways up and then I change my course. I want to go up the side, so like ride up the hill to my left or whatever to get a view up the valley.
Sure. As you start going up the hill, you notice there's a piece of worked stone kind of jutting out horizontally from the hill you're ascending.
Say that again. There's a piece
of worked stone jutting out horizontally from the hill that you're ascending. So if you're going up a hill and there's like a slight grade, there's a lot of grass and bushes and vines and trees.
So like the foundation of a building or something?
It's either a foundation of a building or the rooftop of a building or a wall that's been knocked over. Or
this is the hill that I'm riding up, isn't it?
Right.
So I'll stop as I'm riding up and try and inspect it. I am an engineer, so maybe I can try and figure out what portion of the building this is. Or
once you get off and start poking around, you can clearly see
I don't think I
is...
dismount.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't. Not unless I see something that looks worth dismounting.
Well, from your position, maybe poking with your bronze staff to move the brush around a little bit. This looks like a gateway, like not a curved arch, but like a square archway.
But there's no entrance.
You're at the top of it, so you would have come up this hill, and either the front of the archway has long been covered by earth, or covered by some bushes, and you couldn't see it. But now that you're up higher, you can look down and see like there's a flat stone piece that looks like it is the top of an archway. You can see where it comes down on either side.
So if I ride around it, is there an entrance concealed by brush?
You'd have to ride around it to find out.
Yeah. Okay. I do that. Hold on. Yeah. I mean, I ride like down the hill and around. Yeah.
There are some very large bushes. Not bushes, ivy. There's a bunch of ivy that's kind of hanging down over this area that, now that you realize there's the stone up there, could easily just be ivy hanging down over an open archway.
I turn to GTFO.
Okay.
Yeah, I get out of there. I'm gonna probably make camp and come back with a gaze reflection spell. As I leave, I do want to perception check the area for footprints. Or
Give me a perception check.
Look for footprints or drag marks, slither marks, what have you. 27.
You don't see any footprints, but you do see some shed lizard skin or snake skin or something like that.
Yeah. Do I have any? God, I heard rumors. I think I heard rumors of a basilisk in the Soggy Hills. Does that sound correct? Or are you pleading the fifth here? I'm pretty sure I heard about a basilisk, but who knows?
What else could turn something to stone?
A Medusa, a Gorgon, which are, I think, the same thing. Was it Dungeons and Dragons that made the Gorgon the weird?
They fucked it up. I think maybe Gorgon has another mythological history besides Medusa's, but Medusa was a Gorgon in Greco-Roman mythology, and now now Gorgons are some weird like iron ox that turns you to stone with its gas breath weapon.
Yeah.
Which.
Whatever.
Super dumb.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna retreat. And I think I'm gonna go try and find a nice spot to camp, probably a couple miles from here. I guess I'm gonna summon my tiny hut, so I'm not too concerned. But if I can find like a water source, like a creek or a small pond or something to fill up my water and cook a dinner at.
Okay. You move off and find a spot to make camp. How far did you say you were going away?
I was saying a couple miles, but I'm planning on conjuring a tiny hut at some point. So if I find a good campsite closer, it's probably not a big deal.
Sure, you find a campsite a mile and a half away.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll leave my phantoms. There's no one in the Soggy Hills that is not up to nefarious deeds, right? Right.
The Soggy Hills are known as the untamed section of Arcadia.
Like, I command my minotaur to charge and impale anyone that comes within range.
Okay.
As I start a fire, grill some fish, make a salad. Spell am I going to ditch for gaze reflection? I'll probably play with a feather fall that night. I burn a feather fall and practice jumping off trees and things. I am a kid after all. Okay. All right. So I cook dinner, and then when it's about time for bed, I will conjure a tiny hut.
Okay.
And sleep in it.
The night passes uninterestingly. Uneventfully. Okay. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay. Next morning?
Next morning.
All I'll need to memorize is that gaze reflection, I guess, right?
And your deep pockets and...
Deep pockets and I guess there's no reason to conceal alignment, but I do it anyways.
Okay.
I probably eat leftover fish salad for breakfast. Maybe supplemented with rations if I'm running low.
Delicious.
The unicorn doesn't impale anyone in the night?
It does not.
Okay. And so I mount back up and head towards this entrance, this cave.
Okay. You find the entrance very quickly again after riding for a mile and a half or so. Valley's not too hard to find. The statue gives you a nice reference point to find this archway again.
Mm-hmm.
And the ivy still covers it all.
How high does the structure look?
7 feet tall? 8 feet tall?
So if I'm dismounted, the unicorn can walk with me in there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So maybe I should have memorized more gaze reflections. Because it lasts 10 minutes.
11 if you use a soul.
Nah, worth it. So I don't think I'm going to cast it just yet. Maybe worth casting a shield before I walk in there. I don't know. I'm not going to cast it just yet. I will dismount though and walk alongside my unicorn. I'm looking like at my feet, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once on the other side of the vines, it's quite dark in here. They block most of the light.
Yeah, so I've got my staff with the orb of continual light.
Okay.
And I use that to push the vines apart.
Okay.
And me and the unicorn step in. Describe the dimensions of the hallway, noting that I am
7.5 feet high, 4.5 feet wide. The ground is covered in dirt, but the walls and roof are stone. You presume that if you dug down, you would probably hit stone as well, but time has covered up the stone ground with earth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You move in 20, 30 feet or so and start to see large piles of guano on the ground.
Okay. Are there any carvings on the walls? So, by the way, I'm moving. I am not really looking in front of me.
Right, I'm
listening very intently in front of me. I'm probably almost like sidestepping, so I'm like inspecting the walls to my sides and maybe the ceiling above me.
Mm-hmm. If you inspect the ceiling above you, after 15 feet, the ceiling arches up and kind of opens a little bit, and there are bats hanging from up there that are bothered by your daylight.
Are they? They're bothered by the light?
Yeah, I mean, they don't swarm, but, a few of them flutter and jiggle in place.
Okay. Are the turds pretty big, or is it back guano?
It's back guano.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the place of a pleasant, sweet aroma?
Mm-hmm. Let's change the music.
Something creepier. I don't know if all bats have pleasant smelling shit, but at least the ones in Goleta did.
What bats in Goleta?
The memories I'm thinking of are that there's that it's like an overpass, like a bridge by Patterson, where the bike path goes under some bridge.
By Patterson?
Yeah.
You don't mean at Tucker's Grove, right?
No.
There's the bridge at Tucker's Grove that's got bats under it.
Okay. Did they smell nice too?
I don't know.
Okay.
But the bats
if you take the
Thailand
bike path
smell
like
nice.
East of UCSB a mile or two, it goes under a bridge.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of bats up there, and they shit roses. In any case, the music gets creepier. Does this hallway continues straight?
It continues for 30 or 40 feet before it begins to open up into a larger room. But before you get a chance to really investigate this larger room with your side and ground and side and ceiling look, you hear the shuffling of something further in.
I take this opportunity to cast Gaze Reflection.
Okay. You begin to cast a spell when you hear a voice calling out, "Who goes there? Stranger? Traveler?"
I finished casting the spell.
Okay. It is a feminine voice.
Mm-hmm.
Your spell finishes.
So I cast my Gaze Reflection and I reply, I I am Georg, a wizard of immeasurable power. Who are you? And I now have this shimmering mirror-like area of air before me, protecting me from any gaze attacks. So I take this moment to look around the room and like shed my light.
You have a 60-foot radius of light?
Yeah, something absurd. I think it's 60-foot radius.
You see standing before you, well in the light, is a woman dressed in red robes tied around her with a cord and a hood pulled up over most of her face. Her hands are crossed before her, tucked into the robes. You can barely make out the color of her skin, which is kind of a pale alabaster.
Right. How high is the ceiling in this room?
In this part of the room, it's maybe 15 feet high. The ceiling has opened up. The walls have opened out. And then it kind of looks like this was a dome. A domed room, maybe? Circular in nature? Maybe 30 feet across?
I leave the unicorn in the doorway. How far away from me is she?
Maybe 45 feet. She's on, 30 feet. She's on the other side of the domed circular room.
Okay, yeah. So the whole, is there an exit? Are there any exits from this room?
Yes. You notice there are 3 other exits. One directly in front of you, one in front and to your right, one in front and to your left.
You don't look like a basilisk.
I'm not. I am a simple woodswoman. Surprised to see a traveler here.
So I think I've taken a few steps towards her, but I think 30 feet is a pretty comfortable talking distance if you're suspicious. So I stop there. The unicorn's a few feet behind me. Or what did you say your name was?
Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Might I say that is a very odd horse beside you?
I give a shrug. I'm sorry to intrude into your house, but I saw these statues outside and I was concerned. And the snakeskin.
Statues in snakeskin. They do not bode well for the travelers, do they?
Is there a basilisk in this valley?
There are many dangerous creatures, basilisks among them.
In this dungeon?
I should hope not. My life would be threatened if it was.
You're not concerned that there's some stoned men outside?
Just the one. I find it keeps would-be witch hunters at bay.
Does it? Well, it lured me right to you. I take a few steps towards her. Letting my staff sort of like fall more casually to my side.
She takes a few steps towards you. I think you're both at like maybe 20 feet now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't seem to be too terrified.
Milady, I am the terror.
Are you now?
Not that you need be afraid. Tell me, where is this basilisk that I might slay it?
Its presence is unknown to me. I try not to seek it out.
I nod cautiously.
Have you not had enough travel? Would you like to stay and rest? I do not get very many visitors, and fewer still who do not tremble at my sight.
Why would someone tremble at your sight? I think I look her up and down for the first time. Is she an attractive woman?
She's a little bit taller than your average woman. She's like pushing 6 feet. But her robes mask pretty much anything about her.
She doesn't have like a tail or anything, does she?
No, she doesn't have a tail. You can see sandals on her bare feet, otherwise bare feet.
By the way, I did have to rememorize Lemon's tiny hat this morning. Okay. But yeah, not important. All right, I don't have any good divination spells memorized at the moment. So I guess I do have my Truth Seer ring, but
tell me, why are you the thing to be feared? The one to be feared.
'Twas said mostly in jest, but as I said, I am a wizard. I have
necromancer, it seems.
No, a dimensionalist. This was a gift from an old friend. Well, I don't have any like fish or anything to offer. I've just got like rations and crap. I'm afraid I don't have anything to offer save for dried meat and water, but I would, yeah.
Well,
I would very much enjoy chatting with you and, well, picking your mind. You seem a most peculiar woman to make her home out here in the Soggy Hills.
You seem a most peculiar man to come running when you suspect a basilisk.
Say that again?
You seem a most peculiar man to come running when you see a basilisk.
Well, truth be told, I paused for some time to make my preparations. I gesture to the glittering mirror in front of me. But it seems I have nothing to fear. At least not here. I want to stick my hand in my pocket, and in the pocket slide the Truth Seer ring on as I wait for her response.
As per usual, my voice rises to a falsetto that is her lying. Otherwise, you can assume it to be the truth. What is it that you said? I forgot already.
I asked if I said I prepared blah 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 before I came running, gestured to the glittering aura in front of me, but it appears I have nothing to fear here.
I think there are quite a few things to be afraid of here. Not just the monsters about.
Tell me, does anyone do you share this this lovely home with anyone else?
I used to. Not any longer. It's just me here, all alone.
I take a few more steps closer.
Her red hood is still pulled low. You can kind of barely see her eyes. They're cast in shadow.
Does she have any sigil or anything?
No, the robes are pulled tight around her neck. Can't see much of her chest.
No embroidering or anything like that?
Some slight embroidering. Nothing fancy. They're not... Yeah, they're fairly standard robes.
Okay.
A slight
so
design.
I take a few steps closer and I say, what are you?
I am a lonely woman looking for some company. My children have long since moved out. I could use the company. Even if just for a night. I would so long to have children again.
Oh, God. Well, I don't know if I can spare that much time, but I'm happy to chat with you, fill you in on news of the outside world, and perhaps in turn you can tell me the lay of the land.
What do you wish to know?
Well, aside from the basilisk, I'd say sort of looking around, looking to the tunnels that lead from here. Can I look and see if there's any drag marks on the ground, or any signs of snakes or more snake skin or anything like that in the chamber?
Yeah, you spot a whole bunch of, definitely not lizard, but snake skin, shedded snake skin, back on between the one that's directly in front of you and in front and to your right.
How many minutes has it been?
It's been about 7.
I try to mask the fact that I noticed the snake skin and take a few steps towards her. So, aside from the basilisk, or I was like looking to always. The actual reason I'm in the Soggy Hills is tracking a chimera. Well, its lair. I slew the beast in Misty Rapids some time back. I want to get close enough to return her reflection, it seems, is she like avoiding eye contact with me? Or like you said, you were describing the hood as like covering her.
The hood is low. No, you're making eye contact with her.
So if she had a gaze attack, she would be making safe against it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm kind of getting the heebie-jeebies. If she doesn't say something reassuring in the next minute, I'm going to activate a true seeing.
I'm at Chimera Lair.
I nod.
Such a beast does live out here. Or did. I've slain it.
And its treasure hoard, if it exists, is mine by right. I mean to track it down. If you have information, I will, of course, share this bounty with you. Chat's telling me gaze reflection doesn't work against all gazes, but...
Don't listen to chat. Listen to your heart, Ryan.
Listen to my heart. You're just trying to get me stoned.
She says, I do not know the precise location, but I know its general location.
Oh, okay. It's not effective against creatures whose effect comes from being gazed upon, such as the Medusa. Only gaze attacks are blocked by the spell. So I guess the Medusa effect comes from looking at her hot body?
Looking at her snake hair.
At her snake hair, okay.
Yeah.
So she could have snake hair hidden under this hood. Does she have like a big poofy afro hidden under the hood?
There's not a big poofy afro.
Mm-hmm. But like, does it look like there's something?
I mean, she's got a hood on. It makes everything obscured.
Yeah, I don't think Georg realizes that the whole Medusa thing comes from the snakes, though. Yeah. Okay.
I would be willing to make a trade, oh powerful wizard. She says with a bit of sarcasm in her voice.
What do you have in mind?
I told you I want children. It gets lonely. Old.
You didn't fully answer my question, I don't think. I think I ought to know what you are before I agree to such an arrangement. You said you are a woman, and that I can see. You are quite feminine, but I don't think you are human. No ordinary woman can survive out here in the wilds.
Her lips part a wicked smile.
So I ask again, what are you?
I am one of a few. I think your kind knows mine as Medusa.
So that is yours. I point to like the skin pile in the corner, acknowledging it for the first time. There is no basilisk in this valley.
No. I could kill you where you stand, and yet I have not.
Likewise.
I know. When two creatures of our relative strengths meet, find it is in our best interest to cooperate.
God. Ryan really wants to bang a Medusa, but I don't know if Georg's on board.
Go to your town. Bring me a mate. I will point you to your chimera.
I nod thoughtfully, backing away. All right. And as I'm leaving, I say, "Just a shame I wasn't your type." As I
Oh, I will take you. I would be happy. One such as you would surely produce viable offspring. He starts stepping towards you slowly.
I'm like, this is like as I've already I've turned my back and I'm like leading the unicorn out the door. Mm-hmm. I pause. I think my back's still to her. And the snakes? Did they join in?
You ask her that?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I can't tell if you're making a joke or if you're talking as Carl.
Georg. I gave her my real name.
All right.
She doesn't have. I glance over my shoulder. She said she doesn't have a tail. I thought they had tails.
You don't see a tail, but she's got these big robes. Maybe it's tucked away.
Mm-hmm.
She's Russian womaning her tail.
What was her hotness?
It's hard to tell with the hood pulled so low.
Mm-hmm.
But it is on the upper end of average. Like the 12, 13 area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Cassandra, it was a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I think perhaps we shall meet again, but...
Do I have cause to worry about you? I expect you to come in here slinging fireballs and trying to bring down my house upon my head?
No.
Mutually assured destruction is not what I seek.
Again, likewise. Do I have cause to fear you? I turn, look at her again.
No.
I am told your visage turn a man like me, even one with arcane power, into stone.
Hard as rock.
Again, mutually assured destruction. But if you pose me no threat, and the people of this kingdom no threat, with some wiggle room.
I will not be hunting down and destroying whole villages, but from time to time I must defend myself against the would-be heroes. He makes a nod towards the outside.
Tis merely self-defense. Plus, the girl's got to eat.
Bring me a mate. One. Hopefully, you care very little about. Perhaps we can broach some sort of alliance. There are things out here I'm sure you would desire. There are things out there.
Well, I think I've had enough desire for one day. It was a pleasure to meet you, Cassandra. And I turn around and bow deeply, politely, give a little curtsy with my robes, and turn and leave.
She says, same to you, Georg, as you take off. I think we are late for our last break, so let's take it and then wrap up our last few minutes of the show on the other side. Last 45 minutes on the other side. So see you guys in a few minutes.